Alright guys, what's up? What is up, Tomboy Official? What is up? There was this topic I mentioned yesterday where I was thinking, is it true that we're moving backward? Is the LGBT community moving backward or being forced to move backward? Is it easy to tell or not? Excuse me, without going into political stuff and news stuff too much, maybe some old stuff. I'm not up to date on the new stuff, but I know some old things that isn't anything that's happened recently. Like, the only thing I've noticed recently are the trainings. I'm under a rock as much as I can be and trying to kind of just, I have to kind of, be part of society to some extent. Especially because I have to, work and do other stuff and, learn things and train and all that kind of stuff. I can't just not. But I'm thinking, in the process of trying to talk about this topic, I really don't know. Off the top of my head, I would say I don't think I have a clear answer, because I can see what people are saying, that there are some things that are rolling back, but then there are some things that are moving forward. And it's hard to really tally up. If I look back at, some of the content I watch, sometimes I rewatch a lot of stuff too. Like I mentioned yesterday, some content, some kind of masked female type content that was from about a decade ago, by Jay Killam, and the other one by Liz Feldman. One of them had Kate Monig in the, video, with Liz Feldman making some kind of, beer can chicken or something like that, talking about the recipe and making it, in front of a live audience. It sounded like this was pre-podcasting. It was there were still podcasts, but it wasn't called a podcast. It was a live audience little show. And it was kind of flirty, a little flirty episode. And it was, I think, near when the L Word was still going on, still airing, or it was newer at that time. This was a decade ago, I think. And so even now, there's still nothing like that show. There's 2 series of it, and even now it's other than the stuff that all the lesbians, bless them, who make all the Instagram and YouTube, and I've seen some stuff maybe on Amazon. There are movies on Netflix. There are movies that exist. There are becoming queer characters in every show. That's been happening for a while, but it's not necessarily queer characters written in by queer people. It's a lot of it's other people writing the characters in. So sometimes it's there's a queer character, but there's no queer storyline. There's nothing gay. And of course it's not you're gonna be oh yeah, there's some show or some movie where there's a gay character, but then they're hooking up and doing all kinds of stuff, usually it's, and then the whole storyline is a whole other storyline, but then the queer character kind of has their dating storyline and stuff too. Usually it's yeah, they're a queer character, but they're just there, the token, but you don't really see them like necessarily struggling with anything with their queerness. Not that they have to struggle, but you don't really see them, from there's not a lot of a lens from their perspective, unless it's like a queer show or movie or something. Then you'll see it from that angle. You rarely see it as like, oh, there's this other person living their diverse kind of lifestyle and the things that they deal with. But I've also seen more movies with like characters who are from, or show series that are like characters that are Muslim, and like they moved into like a Midwest community, and there's like Muslims moving in, and it's kind of comedy. I've seen comedy kind of sitcom type shows like that too, that are like people from India or Pakistan, and kind of like moving. There was one about some family who moved to like Pennsylvania or something, and like I can't remember the storyline, but there was someone that the family had arranged for him to marry back in India, and it's kind of hit like his life growing up, and kind of like what he dealt with in his neighborhood. Like it looked like it was in the 70s, just kind of like how people treated him, and they didn't understand his food, and they didn't understand like that he had for lunch, and they didn't understand, and when he came home there were like different rules versus when he was outside the house there were different rules. Like there's a lot of shows and stuff like that, but it's like I wonder if those are really made by the people that are not of that culture, or if it's someone of that culture that's writing the whole series. And I think it does make a difference if there's someone writing the whole series versus, oh, we need a more diverse cast, so let's throw in a gay one and throw in an Indian one and throw in a, just throw them all in there, but none of them are having their own particular cultural experiences. They're still oftentimes, it's often a straight cishet world view, and usually the gay person either has a storyline where there's bullying, or are they gonna come out, and who's gonna find out that they're gay, kind of thing. Like usually, I don't know what percentage, but a very high percentage of queer storylines are that. I'm not saying it's not relevant, but a lot of storylines are that. You rarely see other kind of storylines. And sorry guys, I mentioned my throat is like really weird. I think it's because I'm trying to talk so quiet that it's, because when I'm talking just like normal, I'm talking fine, but I'm kind of like straining my voice a little bit, trying to talk quieter. Like I said, I don't really like talking about gay stuff in the house, which is sad to say, but it's true. But here we go. Like, we're podcasting through it, but I'm gonna not talk as loud, of course. But yeah, definitely, excuse me. But yeah, I wonder, I don't know what straight people think about that. I don't know if they notice it or see it or care. I've had straight friends who like certain, well, I don't know if they're straight either. I don't really know how they fully identify, because if they've mentioned something to me, but I've never like checked back and like circled back to see like years later now how do they identify. Like I don't really know, but I don't really talk to them about it because it's a bit of a different dynamic now. So I, not like in a bad way, it's just I don't know. but I don't know, like, I don't know. I mean, the things I deal with, I don't see them coming up that often, and like, it's not like I'm watching anything anyways, but when I am watching things, you know, like, I'm not like sitting down with a whole lot of series. Like, I watch, like, a lot of stuff I watch is queer anyways. I like a lot of stuff by Lena Waithe. Ashley Gavin's got a lot of stuff, you know, a lot of the podcasting stuff I like. And some of the, you know, actors and comedians and stuff, you know, musicians that are of the queer world, they kind of have podcasts and like make shows, or they're kind of like Mae Martin, who's in like Wayward, and, you know, the Handsome podcast, and all three of those, Tig Notaro, you know, Fortune Feimster and Mae Martin on the Handsome podcast. And then when they have specials out, or if they show up on other podcasts, and like watching them on there, what they say and stuff like that, like I kind of watch stuff like that. And then there's certain podcasts that I watch when they post them almost every week, and then like kind of that vibe. It's like I'm watching stuff like that, or just rewatching stuff that's like, I know I like it enough, or know the show enough, like 6 Feet Under or Sopranos. Like, those are very dark, but that kind of stuff, it's like I've seen it a million times. I can tune into it, you know, watch it, and it's familiar. So even if there is a lot of violence and a lot of stuff, I'm like, well, I've seen it already, and there's not a novelty to it, or I know when I can skip something if I don't really want to view that part. So it's a lot less stress to just rewatch stuff that I've already seen. I find it a lot less triggering. But yeah, I really don't know. I'm just trying to think this through. Like, media-wise, I've definitely seen an uptick, but I think it's like within the straight comfort zone. Kind of almost like when you started seeing like an uptick in racial diversity back in maybe the 80s, 90s. You know, there would be more black people, maybe. Usually that would be the race that there would be more of. I don't know if there were usually more like Asians or Latinos or any other kind of groups of people, but usually it was like, oh, there's more black characters. And I'm not knocking any of the like, just because whatever. I'm not saying, oh, there was nothing about it that was right or wrong. I'm just saying, for example, shows like The Cosbys or Family Matters and stuff like that, they get there's kind of a controversy because people say like, well, these people are living like a white, like, in quotes, kind of like a white lifestyle. It's like they're living a white lifestyle, but they're black race people. You know, trying to like appeal to like, it's like, oh, they're not that kind of black. They're like the socially acceptable in the Western world kind of black. Because there are two different types of, like, I've noticed that type of black culture can be celebrated often. The way that I was raised is, oh, once we start getting into hip-hop music and like the dance culture of things and the slang that might come up and the styles of clothing and the hairstyles and things, once we start getting deep into like other cultural aspects, the foods and all that, we're no longer talking the same language. Like, a lot of times the mainstream is not interested in that. It then becomes a black show. Those types of shows with those types of themes or characters that aren't like melding in, you know, are considered, you know, oh, it's a black, like Tyler Perry, that's black movies. Spike Lee, it's a black movie, you know. But not, I mean, but I'm kind of saying that towards like queer cultural stuff. It's kind of the same. That's kind of how I see it now. It's like you see the stuff peeking out, but yeah, there's not like L words and queer Queer as Folk series coming out on mainstream, channels. Like, those are like a decade old or more. Like, the originals are like a decade old. Queer as Folk didn't do like a new one. I didn't see. I think there's a British one. I don't know, a UK. I could be wrong, but I thought I heard that there was. I could be wrong. I've never looked into that. But yeah, there's Gen Q for the L Word. That one came out, I want to say during the pandemic, right? And there was a rumor that there was going to be a New York one. That didn't happen. And then the L Word had the Real L Word series as well. That wasn't, well, maybe it was a long time ago now. It feels like it wasn't, but it was. But yeah, so it's like, yeah, there is more representation. It's not like hidden in the dark alleys or whatever, at least, but there are still, and I wonder how this would look, because where I used to work, we used to have these trainings by Relias, and you could probably get them for free. I don't know how you get access to them, but we used to have them for like CE credits, and there used to be a homosexuality or LGBTQ plus kind of training, and the stats were crazy. I remember seeing the stats and being like, whoa, like of how many states, are considered like a certain like hate crime, or like trans rights in different places, or same-sex marriages are recognized and having like access to healthcare packages through your partner's work insurance and stuff like that, or like adopting a kid, or laws against sodomy. That's insane, because I think it's still, even for straight culture, they're not allowed to have anal sex or something. It's illegal. But there's a lot of things where it's like the rights aren't equal. I mean, I live in LA, so it's not very apparent here. Like, there definitely is going to be a lot that happens still, but I mean, Hollywood has plenty of gays and plenty of influence with the media and in general. So right now, I would say LA on that end. I'm not talking about all the other things in LA, but just that specific piece. People are even scared out here, as open-minded as it is out here. People are in fear still, and I have seen a combination of a bit of a queer retreat. I don't want to call it retreat like a vacation, but like retreat as in like if you were like in combat or something and you're like, let's all retreat, like let's move back some, like there's a lot of that, like, should we be moving back a little, take a step back a little, quiet down a little, make ourselves small a little bit? Or is this the time to be proud because every freaking person seems like they're gay all of a sudden? So everybody's coming out, all these actors and musicians are just dating whoever they want to date openly now. Not everybody, but it's more common. And I think what we have on our side, and I don't want to maybe say it out too loud because then it might get taken away, but once people had access to making YouTubes and TikToks and Instagrams, even with the limitations that they put on those, being able to express themselves and make their own media, talk about their own stuff that they want to talk about. Like, I can sit on here all day and just talk about gay stuff all day. It's like, if I have the topics to talk about and have nothing else that I really want to even say, not even like acknowledge, any straight thing. I mean, the thing, this is maybe a side note, but the thing that got me maybe the most interested in the fitness stuff was literally because I was like watching these kind of like maybe mask lesbians, kind of like stud, butch, whatever. And I was like, a lot of them are kind of into fitness. There are a lot of them that are kind of into like personal development, fitness. You know, they talk about things that I'm interested in when it comes to either like fashion or even makeup. Like there's stuff that I was like, I don't even care about this kind of stuff. But then I heard, I think it was Mae Martin, like it's kind of a joke, but excuse me, they talk about how Mae Martin has like, I don't know if it was like a lip gloss or some kind of like clear thing, and then some kind of like I don't know if it was like a mascara or some kind of thing that was like, it's not really visible too much. It's just like, it's so neutral, but they have it on. And it's like, and I was like, wait, like, there was some appeal to that. Or, you know, there's a lot of times where there's like maybe mask or stud, like black lesbians talking about hair care and like lotions and like skin, you know, for certain skin types or dark skin, like certain kind of like moisturizers and things. And I was like, okay, I actually like that too. And then, you know, when people talk about like fashion tips, and then that's kind of how I got interested more in the fitness stuff, is because that kind of stuff, like my Instagram just became all that. That's all it became, was like just straight up like lesbians doing gay stuff. And I was like, oh, like that, I can kind of align with that a little bit more than the, you know, perk your boobs up, make your ass, you know, wear tight pants for your ass to be more defined, and wear heels or whatever, you know, put on makeup and wear like red because of the sexual connotations of a red lipstick or whatever. Like, I'm like, I'm not trying to attract a man. Like, that's not the goal here. I'm not trying to appeal to them, you know. I have my own style, and I don't care if guys are into it or not. Like, it doesn't really matter to me. And so, yeah, it is kind of weird to me. That, because even I noticed, even with like, I don't like dresses and skirts and things like that, but I was thinking about it, and I saw some kind of like garments and things from other cultures, like say in Cambodia, I've seen some people walking around in villages, or like maybe it was somewhere in the Philippines or Singapore, where they wear kind of like a wrap, around. It's almost like a skirt. I don't know what they're called. Is it called a sarong? I don't know the names of this type of stuff, but I've seen it in videos where Muslim people, I think it was in Indonesia, where there was a certain mosque where people were visiting, but men, like women, if they came in and they didn't have the right head coverings, or if their bodies weren't covered enough, there was a certain garment they could temporarily borrow to wear to come into the temple. And then there was, for the guys, you know, they were like maybe British guys, they were wearing shorts, they were able to get this kind of like wraparound cloth kind of thing. Or even for like Muslim men, like the thobe. I think a thu is my friend told me it was like in some Micronesian place, maybe in Yap, I think. A thu is a type of, I think it's like a thong or something, or like a loincloth or something like that. But anyways, yeah, the thobe, that's like it's like a long, it's technically a dress. It's like, I mean, you wouldn't call it that, really. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but it's like a straight length, like it's like a straight, it's not like flared out. It's like it looks like it's one single fabric. This long sleeve with no folding collar. It's got a collar that comes up a little bit a lot of times, but it's not folding. It can button all the way up to the top of that. And then it buttons down to a certain point of the chest, a couple buttons down or so. Maybe some of them button all the way down, but it just buttons down, and it's just a long garment that goes past your knees. It's all the way almost to like your ankles. It's like a long garment that, you know, I've seen some Muslim guys in some of their videos who, like, they live in the UK, and there's this one guy who did a video about his experience as a Muslim, and he was raised Muslim, but he's like this white guy, and he was going to college, and he was wearing the thobe, and he was kind of like, on the bus, he was like, oh, I wonder if I'm gonna get strange looks or whatever, because I think they said when their family was in, was it Scotland or somewhere like that, when they would walk to mosque wearing those, people would look at them funny, because it does look like a dress, but it's not like a feminine dress, it's like a masculine one, kind of like how the Pope wears that. And then if you've seen that movie Bruno, it's an old movie where this little boy likes to wear dresses, and he kind of goes on this rant about, like, Muslim men wear dresses, the Pope wears dresses, like, talking about all the kind of men that wear dresses. And it's like, yeah, they're not really maybe called a dress, but I'm like, I probably wouldn't hate wearing that. I probably wouldn't hate it. And the same with some of those, like, skirt type of wraparound things. I probably wouldn't hate it as much as, like, a dress that's made for, like, traditionally for, like, women to look more feminine. So those kind of things, it's like, you don't see that kind of stuff being talked about on shows with the token queer person. Nobody's getting into somebody's head and, like, thinking, like, talking about these kind of things. They're like, oh, the gender thing, and, like, you're non-binary, well, you say this and we're just gonna try to get your pronouns right. And that's, like, as far as the show will take it. Is like, they're not talking to the queer people specifically, they're kind of talking to their own experiences of, like, we kind of see that queer people are here, but we're not really doing too much with that. We're doing some with it, but it's like, it's not so much passing the line to where it's like, now this is a gay show. Just kind of like, that's why I mentioned the example of black shows, because I think people can kind of recognize that too. Like, there are shows that are like, or movies and things that are considered black, like Soul Plane. You would consider that a black movie. Like Friday, you would consider that, the series of it, black. Is black, you know, like, there are probably white people involved in it, but it's definitely black inspired, you know, with the comedy, the type of comedy and all that kind of stuff. You can kind of tell, and it's not even to say that one's better or worse, but I think society still treats it like, oh, if we're calling it a black movie now, society treats it a little bit differently. The mainstream society is like, oh, it's like a black thing. It's not valued as much. It's not shown as much. Like, even for Black Pride, you know, they're like, okay, San Diego, for example, has a lot of Latino events, or events, say Riches, for example. They have a lot of events that might be like Poppy Night or whatever, and it's like some Latino type of inspired music or DJ or something. And I know there's always hip-hop in the front. For the most part, it's hip-hop all day. And then they have Black Pride like once a year. but, you know, Riches doesn't really have it as, like, a black space often. It's usually, like, once a year, and then there's usually Latino-inspired stuff. But every so often they will have, like, more hip-hop related stuff going on. Like, every so often there's more going on. I'm not, like, faulting them. I'm just saying a lot of clubs do that. A lot of queer clubs are, like, usually catered towards the white male. And I'm not complaining. I'm like, it's just how it is. But I'm like, even within the queer culture, within the queer stuff that the queer people control, it's still not fully balanced out, even in our own world. And then take it outside of our world. I feel like, at least when we're talking about the media, that's kind of my perspective, is like, things are still kind of like, okay, you see the queers in the media, but they're usually seen from a mainstream perspective, and the mainstream is placing, oh, these are queer issues that we need to address. But the queer people over here, like, are these the issues we want to address? Like, you know, like, why can't I get in every place I want to get to because of the dress code? There's dress codes at certain places where it's like, I can't go there because I'm not going to wear a skirt or a dress or, like, a thing, you know. And usually out here the rule is, like, you know, you can do, like, a gender neutral clothing of something with a collar and something with pants, even if you're a woman. But it might not work out. You still might get turned away out the door because you're a woman that's not dressed feminine. They might not want you in the club. But you can go down the street and go to the gay club and just wear whatever the heck you want. So it's like, that still does exist, even in San Diego and LA. LA has a lot of, well, San Diego too has a lot of clubs where you can't just wear, like, whatever. And a lot of times I do go in and look at the dress code and I'm like, oh, I can't wear a hat here. Oh, I can't wear this there. It'll be like a rave and I can't wear what I want to wear. Yeah. But yeah. So yeah, I don't know if I should break this up into multiple parts. Because I was mostly talking about media, mainstream media. I talked a little bit about social media, but not too much. I probably should break it up into different categories. So let me just do that, because this one mostly I talked about media. I want to talk more about social media, talk about, I don't really know a lot of political stuff, but the stuff that I do know, I'll maybe start with that one, get that one out of the way. It might be shorter, which is fine, because then people can break it up into what they want to hear, if they want to hear it. But I hate talking about political stuff so much. Maybe I'll just do it real quick.